Just 3.5 seasons into his professional career, it's hard to name 10 receivers better than Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions. Along with his fellow stars like Jahmyr Gibbs and Aiden Hutchinson, St. Brown has been one of the faces of the new Detroit Lions, who are somehow the most likable and scariest team in the NFL all at the same time. He's been the #1 receiver for a resurgent Jared Goff, who joined the Lions at the same time as him, and he is quickly becoming one of D-Town's most beloved players in history. But what makes Amon-Ra so special? Why has he been so dominant while playing for a team with such a spotty history? And why has he become so beloved not just by his fans, but by the NFL media and his peers? And in today's video, we're going to look at different occasions that players, coaches, and even critics tried to tear down Amon-Ra St. Brown, and even reveal what Calvin Johnson, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, thinks of Amon-Ra, and how now he is proving everyone wrong and becoming a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. Now, as the son of a bodybuilder and brother to a pair of football players, one of whom also made it to the NFL, Amon-Ra was raised to be the best at whatever he chose to do. Thanks to his mother being German, St. Brown is fluent in German and speaks several other languages as well, with her taking care of his education and mental health. For his strength, though, he has no one else but to thank except his father, who was pushing all of his sons at a very young age to get into the gym. And well, it's safe to say that it paid off for the young wide receiver.
Amon-Ra is a beast, man. I like his guy. They just run through his bloodline. You see his family, they do all the working now, Olympic lifts and stuff like that. And it shows up in his game. You know, guy can stop on a dime. He can go block. Strong dude, and I love his game, you know. And when he gets to going, he a hard guy to slow down.
His hard work was the hallmark of his game, and at USC, he found ways to shine despite subpar quarterback play.
I remember watching him come in as freshman, and I knew right away he was built different. Back in college, he played running back for us in Colorado. Scored a touchdown on it, actually. He's ridiculous.
Thanks to a shortened 2020 season, though, and even a 40-yard dash that was somewhat considered slow, Amon-Ra found himself sliding down the draft board on draft day. Luckily, though, the Detroit Lions selected St. Brown in the 4th round, 112th overall, which made him the 17th wide receiver off the board. The selection was the realization of a dream come true for Amon-Ra, but the only thing on his mind at the time was anger and determination. And honestly, just with him falling so far in the draft, it's really stayed with him ever since. And he takes pride in the fact that he can name every wide receiver taken before him in the 2021 NFL draft.
The feeling that I had, I can feel it right now as I'm speaking to you. I can name all 16 receivers right now if you want me to.
Name them.
Jamar Chase, LSU, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith,
wide receiver,
Alabama, Darius Toney, Florida, Rashad Bateman, Minnesota, Elijah Moore, Rondell Moore, Dwayne Eskridge, Tutu Atwell, Louisville, Terrace Marshall, LSU,
wide receiver, LSU. With the 77th pick,
Josh Palmer, Tennessee, Jahmyr Brown, UNC, Amari Rogers, Clemson, Nico Collins, Michigan, Anthony Schwartz, Auburn.
With the 109th pick,
and Des Fitzpatrick, Louisville.
And now, despite the situation not being ideal in his mind, St. Brown would prove to be an excellent fit in the Motor City, a fact that both head coach Dan Campbell and general manager Brad Holmes knew when selecting him.
We got them, both of them back to back. It was awesome. I mean, it was freaking awesome.
Kid, I remember you talking about Derrick, talking about the St. Brown. It's gonna mix it up. This guy is a whole lot. Yeah, no, I agree.
He's another ass kicker. He adds grit, toughness, his explosiveness. He's a dog. He's just going to be a great addition. It fits Dan's vision for what he wants as a football player.
The pick panned out fairly quickly when, despite a shaky 3-13-1 record under first-year head coach Dan Campbell, Amon-Ra broke the Lions record for both receptions and receiving yards by a rookie. His first career touchdown came as a walk-off in a losing streak-breaking victory over the rival Minnesota Vikings, and from that point on, there was no doubt of 2 things about him. 1, Amon-Ra was a Lion and he was here to stay, and 2, he was him. Going into his 2nd season, most experts already considered him a sure thing to continue climbing towards greatness as well.
I can tell you that he was one of the most consistent wide receivers week in and week out. That there was always the possibility of him turning a play of 10 yards into 20-something yards. Justified being among the top receivers, that top tier, the CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill,
Justin Jefferson. Yep.
And it's interesting because Rashee Rice is getting there too.
And in 2022, Amon-Ra St. Brown was ready to take that step forward, but instead he turned that into a gigantic leap. St. Brown laid claim to his spot as Detroit's top receiver, catching more passes than the number 2 and number 3 receivers on his team combined, going for over 1,100 yards as his team secured their first winning record since 2017. And trust me, this didn't happen by chance either. St. Brown had continued to grind every day, reminding himself of the doubters and what he had left to prove. It's always good to impress the coach, and St. Brown certainly did that, with Dan Campbell praising him by saying this:
Everything he does, it's not lip service. Like he literally does everything he can possibly do to be the best. And that's why there's no secret. Like somebody, you just walk around with him. Why don't you just go live with him for a while if you really want to know what it looks like. Half the guys that say, well, I'm going to be great, and they would quit day 2 or 3. So this guy just keeps going.
And it's really that hard work that led to St. Brown being such a good receiving threat. And not only that too, but he was willing to contribute however he needed to. I mean, the dude was doing absolutely everything, whether it was run blocking or even just being like even an extra jet sweep runner that had to take the ball for a handoff and maybe get smoked by a D-end or something. Like, the dude was willing to put his body on the line for his team, and it's exactly what you think of Detroit when you see the Detroit Lions play a game. By now though, the Lions rebuild was in full swing, and their 4th round receiver was probably the biggest part or biggest piece of solving that puzzle. With just 2 seasons under his belt, St. Brown was already an established and feared player, being named the NFL's 67th best player in the annual top 100 voted on by players. Like, I mean, hell, each of his division rivals like Jalen Johnson of the Bears and TJ Hawkinson of the Vikings had to tip their caps to him.
I definitely have a lot of respect for him and what he's done and just kind of developing as a young receiver.
That guy is he's a hungry worker. He wants to be great in this league.
I mean, the dude was already pretty much considered elite by all the experts as well. Pro Football Focus named St. Brown the NFL's 15th best receiver going into 2023 after he had failed to crack their rankings the year before. But even their projections were way off because even the sun god wasn't done ascending yet. In 2023, he only caught 13 more passes than the previous season, but his yak ability and field vision improved immensely. St. Brown finished the regular season with over 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns, helping the Lions as they won 12 games for the first time since 1991. He also had more than 75 yards in every playoff game as Detroit took a trip to the NFC Championship game, nearly beating the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl. As always, Amon-Ra led his team by example through his gritty work on and off the field, and when players were asked about his work ethic and ability, Lions right tackle Penei Sewell said this:
So physical. Not even just run blocking or even blocking in general, but the way he runs his routes, the way he catches the ball, everything is just so physical, and you can feel it.
Like, I mean, it's the level of physicality combined with St. Brown's intellect and skills at catching and handling the ball that made him a quarterback's best friend. Like, I mean, hell, it's something that Jared Goff would leap at the opportunity to tell you.
Everything you want in a receiver. He's smart, he's gritty, he's got great hands, he runs great routes, he's a very friendly target for me, he gets himself open.
After 2 years of complete and total dominance, as well as Detroit's rise to fame as America's darling football team, anyone doubting St. Brown's ability has been laughed into silence. All signs point to him being that guy for a very long time, and the Lions were quick to demonstrate their faith in him long-term, signing their young player to a 4-year, $120 million extension. And of course, if you ask Dan Campbell, he's worth every single penny.
Saint is very much he's a core piece of our foundation, and he has the same aspirations we do, and he knows. Look, I think we talk all the time about, man, let's create a legacy here. And he's one of those guys that we talk about. And he very much wants that. He wants to be a part of something special, as really all these guys do.
Amon-Ra has gone on record saying that he didn't want to go to Detroit when he was in the pre-draft process. But just 5 years later, I really doubt anyone other than rival NFC North fans want him to ever go anywhere else. Like, I mean, the dude is just a certified stud and a joy to watch, proving to be a pivotal factor in one of the league's quickest rebuilds. But now we have to turn turn to the present and see what some players are saying, because the Lions are just no longer plucky underdogs. No, they are favorites to win the NFC and possibly the whole damn thing. He was ranked as the 23rd best player in football in the 2023 NFL Top 100, one of the biggest leaps by any player that year, also landing as the 5th highest rated receiver. Similarly, PFF finally saw the light and dubbed St. Brown as a top 10 wideout, ranking him 7th in their preseason receiver rankings for 2024, citing his continued growth in chemistry and a potent offense. I mean, at this point, honestly, everyone knows who Amon-Ra St. Brown is, and it's safe to say that they all fear him when they have to go up against him.
Just being able to catch it, make guys miss, finish in the end zone.
St. Brown been going off, boy. Hey, he nice. That boy, he be giving people business.
Amon-Ra even had the attention of one of the best receivers of all time who had met St. Brown as a rookie.
Well, you're definitely on that list, man. You're definitely on that list as far as top receivers in the league, bro. That's hands down. You know, you got your All-Pro, which is well deserved. You know, they still do obviously on the Pro Bowl.
That's all good.
Like surrounding the team and the player, there was some concern when St. Brown started the 2024 season with just 3 catches for 13 yards. Since then, however, those fears have largely been put to silence, as he has had 3 100+ yard games through 13 weeks, and he's gotten into the end zone in every single game in which he's been held to under 50 yards since week 1. And now, yes, the volume may be down due to the dominance of just Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield, but St. Brown's presence is still felt on Ford Field. The Lions have everyone's attention, and the connection between Goff and his top receiver when it matters most has been vital to their 11-1 record.
Greg, so when it feels like when we talk about best duos, this duo never really comes up. Do they deserve more respect?
See, I'm of the belief they have the respect.
Last 30 times Jared has targeted you, you've actually caught the ball. And it speaks so much to your dependability and consistency. Tell me about your guys' connection and the way that you guys continue to play such efficient football.
Yeah, I think, it starts with the work, the prep that we put in and week out. Ben Johnson putting up a great game plan for us, for me to get open. Jared's seeing everything great right now. He's playing at an all-time high. And I think just the 4 years that we've been together, we've just built on the chemistry each and every year. He's starting to understand, he knows how I like to run my routes. I know what he's seeing out there. And he's just taking care of the football. If he's not throwing it to me, he's throwing a check down. He's taking care of the football, and I think that's the biggest thing for us.
As Tom Brady mentioned, St. Brown's dropless streak spanned over 5 full games and added up to more than 30 completions for a couple hundred yards in a streak of 8 games with a receiving touchdown. This season, he leads all wide receivers in catch rate, dropping less than 18% of his targets, which includes any out of reach or at his feet. And now look, there's really no two ways about it. St. Brown has been lethal this season, and although he may not meet the same statistical heights as he did last season, the ceiling for him and the Lions is as high as it possibly could be. And as crazy as this may sound too, there really is a case to be made behind trading away Matthew Stafford and hiring Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Drafting Amon-Ra St. Brown may have been the biggest piece required to the turnaround in the legacy of the Detroit Lions. As we all know, the team is currently the Vegas favorite to win not just the NFC North, but the whole damn thing, and none of it would be possible without number 14, the Sun God. And at the end of the day, Dan Campbell said it best.
There's not a coach in this world that wouldn't die to have St. Brown on their team.